this is going to sound kind of weird, but every time I do these streams, right, and I turn off the camera, I finish the stream, it never fails. I always have this bittersweet feeling inside of me. And why do I call it bittersweet? The bitterness comes from the fact that I'm sitting here for 6 hours talking to strangers, which is totally fine. I'll be here for 5 to 6 hours on a Friday night talking to people online. And when I'm done with the stream, YouTube tells me how many people actually came to watch it. And usually the number is somewhere between 426 people and 530. Or 540 people, something like that. Right? Usually the number of viewers will fluctuate within that zone, within that range. And so the bitterness, I'm saying that humorously, but the bitterness comes from the fact that I've been sitting here for 6 hours. I started from the late afternoon into the evening, into the late evening, actually, talking about politics and history and listening to video game sound score music. And it's like clockwork. It's just every Friday. And I'm just sitting in this room. And talking to people, staring at a screen. And it's just this, it's the same number every time, right? After the stream, it's 426 views, 450, which is totally fine. Totally fine. But there's always that side of me that says, oh, I wish the numbers could grow, right? I wish the numbers can grow. But there's a sweetness that comes with it. That's why I say it's bittersweet. There's a sweetness that comes with doing this stream. And the sweetness comes from the fact that I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying myself. I love sitting here talking about politics, talking about history, talking about theology, listening to this dark video game music, talking with you guys. It's really fun. I don't know. My dad will ask me, why do you stream for so long? Why do you stream for 6 hours? And I give him the same answer every time. It's fun. That's it. It's fun. And there's always that when you're doing content creation, when you're doing YouTube work, there's always that side of you that wants the view count to increase. You want to see your channel grow. It's just natural. You just can't help it. Like that little feeling is going to be there. And you see, YouTube will give you the number of people. YouTube will tell you how many people popped up to see your stream. And usually it's, like I said, 426, or it could be 540, sometimes even more. And it rarely ever goes beyond that. And so there's that one side of me, it's the little internal judge in my mind that says, oh, you're not growing. And there's a little bitterness that comes from that, a little bitterness, but there's the sweetness, and the sweetness overrides the bitterness. And the sweetness is a component of different things. The sweetness is you have spent 6 hours straight doing a mental exercise. The mental exercise is, for how long can you talk? And it's fun to challenge yourself. It's fun. Like after streaming for 4 hours, that's when you actually want to quit. I'll be honest with you. After I get past that 4 hour threshold, my mind starts to get tired. That's why I went to get a coffee break and everything like that, because my mind gets tired. But then something happens when you get past 5 hours. When you go past that 5 hour threshold, something happens where you just get this energy, and the caffeine definitely helps, but you get this, it's not just this energy, but your brain just softens up and it becomes so easy to talk in front of a camera. It's ridiculous. You lose your sense of self-conscientiousness. It just becomes this beautiful, very enjoyable flow of consciousness, which I love. I think one of the greatest feelings ever is to have a flow of consciousness. You're not thinking about what you're going to say. You're not anticipating what you're going to say. You're not worried about the views. You're not worried about any of that stuff. You're just living in the moment. And it's almost a spiritual experience. It's amazing. It really is an amazing feeling. And I wonder if other streamers have the same experience or a similar experience. I don't know. But the sweetness comes from partially from that. It's the fact that I'm here for, yeah, I've actually done this mental exercise, which is kind of challenging, which is how long can I talk? Can I go for 5 hours? Can I go for 6 hours? How long? How can I push myself mentally? Because it is a challenge. I'm not gonna lie, it is a challenge to do this. I'm not saying it's the hardest job in the world. I'm not saying it's as easy. I'm not saying it's as difficult as roofing, but it is a challenge. It's a little intellectual challenge. So that's fun. It's fun to overcome that challenge. And the sweetness also comes from the fact that I am embracing everything. I know my streams don't get a lot of views. I know the stream is going to get 500, 600 views at most, maybe 700 views, maybe 800 views. And that's most likely going to be it. I know that my most watched stream has only 1,000 plus views because I was talking about Elon Musk. And I embrace it. Because that bitterness comes in, and you say, "Oh, I want the views to grow. I want this." Because that's, like I said, that's natural. But you embrace it. You say, "You know what? No, who cares? I like it. I like the fact that I just keep going. I like that feeling of just keep going, regardless of how few views you get. Regardless of, you just keep going. And what matters is just making sure that you have prepared for your streams. And I have prepared very well for this stream. And the sweetness also comes from the fact that you're just having a conversation with people for hours, and it's fun. It really is. Even though I'm in this small room and this creepy music is playing and it's late at night, I don't care. It's fun. And when I turn this camera off, that weird feeling is going to come. It always does. And the little bit of bitterness comes, but that sweetness comes, and oh, let me tell you, it is sweet. And that's what keeps me doing these streams, in all honesty. I don't do these streams because I feel like I have to. Even though, in a sense, I do feel like I have to. But that's not the reason why I continue to do them. I do these streams because I enjoy doing it. Because I enjoy that feeling. I enjoy the feeling that I get of talking to you guys, of talking for hours about stuff that I really find interesting. And I do these streams because when I turn that camera off, when I turn OBS off, that bittersweet feeling comes. And it's become almost a feeling of nostalgia, where I become nostalgic for when I first started doing hours-long streams. Because when I first started streaming, I would stream for an hour, and to me, an hour was enough. And then 4 hours, and then 5 hours, and then I passed the 5-hour threshold and did a 6-hour stream. And then one time I did a 7-hour stream. When I passed the 6-hour threshold and did my first 7-hour stream, I felt amazing. Like, this is awesome. I'm sitting here talking to strangers for 7 hours, not caring, not giving a damn about the fact that my stream is small, not giving a damn about the fact that my channel is small, just embracing everything as it is and accepting it and being content with it and finding happiness in that. It's an amazing feeling. And so ever since then, I've thought, I want that experience again. I want that 7-hour stream experience. And so every time I do a 6-hour stream, I turn this camera off, or a 5-hour stream, and I turn the camera off, and I have that feeling of nostalgia. It just reminds me of that moment. It's really amazing. This is how we used to talk in earlier times in cafes and supermarkets, normal times without self-censorship. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like an online cafe. It really is. I love your I know you prep for these streams like crazy, but the best times happen when you travel off script. Yeah. And I agree. Those are the best times. And the thing is that I don't really prepare for those. That's the thing. It just comes from my brain. It's like magic. I don't prepare for it. I don't say, okay, I'm going to say this. I don't say, okay, I'm going to read this part of the article, and then I'm going to segue off into this other subject. These streams are partially prepared, and they're partially just me just letting go and just see where my flow of consciousness takes me. And that's the magic of streaming. That is the magic of streaming. It's not, it's knowing what you're going to talk about to a certain extent, but to an even greater extent, knowing that you don't know everything that you're going to say, and you just let it go and allow your consciousness to take you down a journey, an intellectual journey, and then you just go right at it. And then it's like a river, and you just let the stream take you. That's why they call it live streaming, right? It's a stream. It's a stream of consciousness. You have to allow the stream of consciousness to take you on a journey. The best conversations that you have are the ones that are not planned. Those are always the best conversations that you've ever had in your life. You have never had an enjoyable planned conversation. In other words, you've never had an enjoyable conversation that you prepared to the point where you said, okay, we're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to talk about this. If you have done a pre-prepared conversation, none of them were enjoyable. So let's say you went out with a girl, or you went on a date, and you said, well, I'm going to bring this up, I'm going to bring that up, and I should ask her this question, and then you did something cringe, like you went online typing in what to do on a first date, and they gave you a whole list of fucking stupid questions. Okay, I'm going to ask this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And you didn't enjoy the conversation because you were trying to make everything perfect and try to plan everything. And perfectionism is the greatest enemy of joy. There is no greater enemy of joy than perfectionism. Nothing. The greatest enemy of joy is perfectionism, because perfectionism requires you to do something that is impossible, which is to be perfect. You can never be perfect. Impossible. All those little insecurities that you have, guess what? You're always going to have insecurities. You know why? Because life itself is insecure. You don't know when you're going to die. You don't know when you're going to get sick. You don't know anything. The whole thing is insecure. Just like live streaming is insecure. I do these streams. I don't know if someone's going to want to debate me. I don't know if someone's going to want to troll me. I don't know if someone's going to give me a difficult question. I don't know where I'm going to segue to. I don't know what subject matters are going to randomly pop up in my head. I don't know what speeches are going to come out of my mouth. I don't know if the stream could suck or if the stream could do well. And so you just have to let it go. And that's something that's very difficult for me. It's difficult for me just to say, yeah, tomorrow I could die. Tomorrow I can get hit by a car. Tomorrow I could get a disease and die. Tomorrow I could be murdered in a mass shooting. You just have to just let it go and say, yeah, all that can happen. And I have to embrace that reality. So it's like with these streams. I'll have all the articles lined up. And that's super important, by the way, to have your articles lined up and to have the parts of those articles highlighted. That way you don't have to read an article from beginning to end and be monotonous and exhausting. You have all the articles laid out. You have a slate of articles that you want to cover. The parts of those articles that you want to read are highlighted. That is where the preparation comes in. When you prepare for a stream, what happens is you have something to talk about. But how you talk about it and how your brain will connect the dots, what dots your brain is going to connect, and what information you have in your storage unit of memory in your computer is going to come out and connect with the subject matter that you're reading about is not planned. That's not prepared for. That's not planned. That's where the stream of consciousness comes in. So you're talking, and then all of a sudden your computer in your head says, hey, you read about this years ago. Check this out. Peloponnesian War, Syracusans, and Spartans and Athenians, and oh yes, the war over Sicily. Boom, there you go. Josephus said this. You have it in your memory. Boom, here you go. Or it's like when I was talking about the downfall of Ben Shapiro. Like eventually, Ben Shapiro will have a downfall. Everyone does, and every dog has his day. And then all of a sudden, my brain said, "Yeah, like the Levitical priesthood." Yeah, that's true. And then they got me to start talking about the Levitical priesthood. That wasn't planned at all. So it's 50%. I would say it's not even 50%. I would say it's 50% preparation, but the other half is you just letting that stream of consciousness run. You know, letting that stream of consciousness just run right through, and it's a lot of fun. But there's that ego, and the ego comes in and says, well, why isn't your channel growing? Your channel's small. And I just accepted it. I said, oh, it's small. Who cares? I'm going to sit here for 5 to 6 hours, and it doesn't matter how many people come to the stream. I'm just going to talk. Once you do that, everything becomes easier. Once you start worrying about view counts and YouTube analytics and how much you're engaging your audience and all this stuff, once you get obsessed with that, you become so focused on success that you forget about living in the moment. And you forget about creativity because you're so obsessed with gaining popularity. And when you're obsessed with gaining popularity, what ends up happening is you start talking about stuff that you're not even interested in, because you want to talk about stuff that other people are interested in the hopes that you're going to grow your channel. Whereas, as opposed to talking about what you're interested in, having that deep conversation and allowing your mind to figure things out, and allowing your mind to connect the dots, and allowing your voice to just express itself. And people admire that. People always appreciate familiarity over scripted dialogue. They will always, always place familiarity and relatability above scripted dialogue. So if I have a scripted dialogue, sure, you can have a lot of views if you do scripted dialogue and you do a video essay. But how long does it take for you to do a video essay? If you're doing all the work by yourself like I am, it takes a long time. Now, if you have a whole team of people and they're writing the script for you, and yeah, you can do it every day, right? You have a team doing all the research for you. Yeah, you could pull it off. But if it's just you and the camera, me writing a script and reading it out and putting B-roll for every video, fuck that. It'll take me weeks to do every video, because then I have to find a subject that I'm interested in. Okay, let's do our research. Okay, let's write a script. Okay, let's read the script. And reading a script is a pain in the ass, because you're reading a script and then all of a sudden you trip on a letter, you mispronounce a word. Let's start again. All right, and it is exhausting. Believe me, I've done stuff like that before. Whereas if I'm interested in, let's say, the Armenian genocide, and I want to do a video about the Armenian genocide, I'm going to get my information done. I'm going to get my information right, do research, go online, find some other stuff, write notes, put notes in front of the screen. That way I don't forget certain things. And that way I remember certain details that are difficult to remember. And just turn that camera on and just go. And that's what I want to do. I do not want to be one of those channels that upload every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't want to do that. That's so depressing for me. It is so depressing. I kid you not. I kid you not. When I see a YouTube channel, even a successful YouTube channel that uploads a video every once in a while, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every month, I'm like, it's depressing. It's absolutely depressing. I see a YouTube channel. Yeah, they might produce good content. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the content is bad. But if I see them producing a video like, oh, this video came out 1 month ago. This video came out 3 months ago. Fuck that. Because I'm not really interested in making perfect content. I am interested in, I'm not interested in overly produced content. I am interested in expressing myself. And this YouTube channel is an outlet. That's how I see it. And almost every single day I have thoughts almost about these sorts of things. And almost every single day I'm reading about certain things. And so I always think I'll be reading about something and I think that's a good idea for a video. Some ideas or some articles you read, you think I could just write about this. But some articles or some part of a particular book can inspire me so much that I say, turn the camera on, let's do it. And that's what I want to do. And if I have nothing to talk about in a given day, no biggie. All I got to do is go to one of my 6-hour streams, review it, and say, oh, I talked about this interesting topic on this 6-hour stream. carve that part out of the stream and upload it into a separate video. And that way my channel is uploading consistently. And that's what I find really important, is to upload consistently. One video, 2 videos a day at least. You know, 1 or 2 videos a day. I see certain channels that are really good, but they inconsistently upload, and I wonder, why aren't they uploading every day? For example, there is a woman. I'm not a huge fan of hers, but I think she does a good job in her videos. Her name is Elena Pierce, and she's a video game commentator. And I think that she does. I think that she does a good job in communicating, but she'll upload once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks. And I'm thinking, and it's not like her videos are overly produced. It's not like her videos are overly complicated or overly edited. There's some edits where she'll cut off certain areas so that the communication is continuous and there's no part of the video where there are these long pauses. So I wonder to myself, she does a good job in her videos. She does a good job talking about video game gossip and news. She should be uploading every day, but she doesn't. And it just boggles my brain. Like, why aren't you up? You should be uploading a video a day, or at least every a few videos a week. Yeah, overproduced channels can't hold my interest. You're right about overthinking things. Yeah. Thank you, Theodoros. You are cutting edge and post contemporary. You are beyond the shitty Chara Chaalis. Zeitgeist. I appreciate that, John. Yeah, I don't consider myself a part of any sort of zeitgeist. I just try to I try my best to see things for what they are, although that can be difficult. Did you ever make a game live stream? I did it one time, or a couple times. I played more than a couple times actually. About a handful of times I played Resident Evil 8, which is a great game, by the way. Great game. Love that game. And I did play Total War Medieval 2, which is a masterpiece of a game. Love Total War Medieval 2. One of the best games. I actually would like to play Total War Medieval 2 after I'm done streaming. But the problem with me, and this is the reason why I avoid playing that game, is Total War Medieval 2 is a game that you cannot stop playing. Once you start playing Total War Medieval 2, you can't stop playing. Is it? Well, I'll play for an hour. It takes 1 hour to prepare your army and do a whole battle. Even when you try to do it on a medium high speed, it takes sometimes 45 minutes just to do one battle, 30 minutes to do one battle. It depends on how big your opposing army is. It's a way of getting new views. I don't know. I think YouTube has a way of sensing when you're doing something that's not in accordance to the general theme of the channel and saying, hey, you're not doing what you normally do, so we're really not going to help you with the algorithm. Because every single time I have live streamed on this channel, I'll have my view count will drop from 20 something people to 5 viewers, 7 viewers. Because people come to this channel not to watch me play video games. People come to this channel to watch me scream and yell about whatever political happenings are happening. James Joyce, an apostate Catholic, but retained some Thomistic philosophy. I lost my faith, but I didn't lose my reason. Interesting. Yeah. Make connections is what science is all about. Magic School Bus. I remember watching that show back in the 90s. You're doing well. Thanks for taking risks and stretching yourself. We're all on a journey together like Frodo and Sam. Absolutely. I appreciate that. I like that reference there to the Lord of the Rings. Thank you for giving us the Wicked Tenets lesson. I appreciate that. Yeah. I really enjoyed doing that. And again, I didn't plan that. It just came out. Chesterton, if a thing is worth doing, it's worth doing badly. 100%. I love Chesterton. I got to read more of him. I want to say 2 of his books. I read, let me think. I read Orthodoxy many years ago, back in 2010, I believe. I read Orthodoxy. And then I read a lot of The Everlasting Man. I don't think I ever finished it. But I need to read more Chesterton again. It's so weird. When I was reading Chesterton, I was so filled with hope and idealism, and reading Chesterton gave me that hope and reinforced that idealism. And I wish I could have that feeling again. I want to bring that feeling back, to be honest with you. I want to I want to revive that childish way of thinking that I had, that childish way of thinking of idealism. I want to bring it back. You've inspired me, John, to read Chesterton again. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. We can always self-correct, like Pope Innocent III said. Well, I think, like I said, perfectionism is the enemy of joy, and when you are too afraid to make a mistake, then you become a procrastinator. Fear not, little flock. Yep. I had plans with friends for Friday, but I requested to move it up to Saturday, and we did so that I can watch your stream. Oh man, that's really touching. That is really touching. I really appreciate that, Jacob Glowsticks. See, this is the sweetness of the stream. There's the bitterness of the stream, which is you're standing in a small room talking for 6 hours about stuff, and you're just allowing your brain to do its thing. And there's a bitterness to that in the sense that your ego is telling you that, oh, you know, your channel is small and this and that. But the sweetness overwhelms the bitterness, and the sweetness is, yes, it's a small audience, but it's a great audience. And yes, you're talking for hours, but you're overcoming a challenge, which is talking for hours and trying to be as articulate as you can. And yes, you're talking for a long time, but you are connecting the dots. You're thinking, you're just becoming more informed as you go, because these streams don't just help the audience, they also help me, because I learn new things as I research for these streams. I used to watch your stream the next day, but never live, but recently have been joining live. Oh, I really appreciate that. Yeah, way more fun. Yeah, absolutely. That way, because you can interact with other people, and I can interact with you guys. I now have a routine centered around watching your Friday streams. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I smoked half a pack these 5 hours. Oh no, don't smoke too much. But I am very touched that your schedule is centered around this stream. I just find that very touching. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I cannot understand for the life of me. Keep up the good work, Theodore. We love you. I really appreciate that, sir. I cannot understand for the life of me how your channel hasn't popped huge. I now look forward to Fridays with you. You know what, man? I don't know either. I don't know why this channel hasn't grown that much. I think it's because of the audio. Sometimes I think it's because of the quality of the mic that I'm using, or it's the quality of the sound mixer, or I don't have the right technical components that are necessary to have really good audio. Or perhaps I don't have the know-how to make really good audio. Perhaps it's the fact that I'm using a 720 camera. Perhaps, I don't know. Perhaps it's because I'm bringing up subject matter that's really niche and people don't really give a shit about. I have no clue. I really don't know. Sometimes I wish people could tell me, hey, Ted, I wish you would do this. That way I could say, okay, that's reasonable. But I look forward to these Friday streams every week, and they're really the highlight of my week. And when I can't make it, I'll be honest with you guys, there is a feeling of depression. It's not overwhelming, but there is definitely a feeling of sadness that kind of punctures a hole in me when I don't do these Friday streams. Last year, I remember I couldn't do a stream, and I remember putting an apology for you guys. Just like the good people die young. Yeah. Good channels go unnoticed. Good people do die young. That is true. Yeah, I agree with you on the channels also. Keep on trucking, as we used to say in the late 1960s, early 1970s, when speech and thinking was freer. Amen. Honestly, your channel is way better than whatever brain rot distributors on YouTube like Hassan Abi and Asmon Gold. I'm not a huge fan of Hassan Abi, although I do agree with some of the things that he says. Asmon Gold, I would say, he's an intelligent guy, and he is really good at communicating. He is. Some of his stuff has become overly pro Elon Musk, which, I mean, that's his opinion, but I don't agree with it. I do really appreciate that Asmongold is saying to people, listen, another Hitler's going to pop up. Because I thought I was one of the very few. I mean, I've been one of the very few people who's been talking about that online. But now we have Asmongold, so that's good. But I really do appreciate that you prefer my channel. I really do. Did you stop the music reviews to avoid risking strikes? Yes. And another reason why, the main reason why, is because YouTube kept sending me these messages saying, oh, this stream cannot be viewed in these countries. This stream cannot be viewed in these countries because you played a song from this particular country, blah, blah, blah. So you can't, the video can't be watched in that country because there's a copyright rule. And it just kind of depresses me. We must go through the bitter waters to go to the sweet. Absolutely. 100%. Yep. Eat of the bitter herb. Yeah. 36 watching. Awesome. Heretics was a great book. Yeah, I remember reading Orthodoxy, and I remember reading The Everlasting Man. Chesterton did great work in his time fighting eugenics. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, and he convinced a lot of people of the British Parliament not to vote in favor for eugenic policy. 36 people watching. Awesome.